Yes.
The names of some of the doctors that you served with on the Burma end, was there a Phillips?
No. There's a Dr. White from Tasmania.
That wasn't Glyn White, that's the other White, isn't it? That
Well,
wasn't Glyn White.
No, I just can't think of his name. It wasn't Ethel White, I just can't think of his surname.
Yeah,
And Don Cummings.
yes.
Cummings became an eye specialist in Dubbo in New South Wales. Later
Yes.
on, they were the other two line doctors in Burma.
Yes. And did you know people like Kevin Fagan?
No, no, he was over in Thailand.
Yes.
We had no communication with other camps at all.
Yes. And you never saw Hunt at any time while you were... You never saw Bruce Hunt
No.
at any time while you were
no,
up there?
I knew Bruce Hunt quite well. I never saw him.
It's interesting. I'd like to just make a couple of quick comments about Bruce Hunt. I was speaking to one of the doctors from the Thai end by the name of Peter Hendry, who lives in Newcastle, and I asked him what he thought of Bruce Hunt, and he said to me, he was not a man I liked, but he was a man I admired.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And I think, would you know the name Rosalind Denny?
No.
She was a matron of one of the hospitals here, and I asked her, because I said to her when she was at Royal Perth, I said, this doctor in New South Wales said to me, not a man I liked, but a man I admired. And she said, that's exactly how I would describe it.
That's about it, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. What about, I'd be very keen to know anything that you could tell us about Captain George Gwynn.
Captain George Gwynn was 2IC of D Company in the battalion, and he did a very good job during the war.
Was he with you when you were on the Burma end, or was he elsewhere?
George Gwynn was, no, he wasn't me on the Burma Railway. I don't know just which force he went in, but he was up in one of the Thailand forces.
Yes.
There were about 4 forces went to Thailand.
Yeah, that's right.
Only one went to Burma.
That's right. Yeah. I've got myself confused there. He was working in one of the books I read, a book called The Heroes of F Force. They mentioned him, and they said he was working as a ward master in one of the hospitals.
Could have been, yes.
I'm particularly interested in George Gwynn because he was a lawyer with
right.
Parker and Parker,
Yes.
and I'm trying to find out a little bit about him. But, I believe when the troops were moving through gauge roads on their way to Singapore, either he or Bert Saggers were the duty officer on the vessel that day, and they had a difficult job.
Yes. I didn't know that, because I was off the vessel most of the day anyhow.
Yes. And when the war was concluded, when peace was declared, how long did it take for you to get your discharge from the army?
Well, I think the army did a wonderfully good job in repatriating us. The war ended on the 15th of August, and I got back to Adelaide on the 5th of November. I got married, I went to Melbourne for a honeymoon, came back to Adelaide, couldn't get back to Perth, there was no chance of getting back to Perth. So I spent a bit of time going out to the Adelaide Hospital trying to brush up on a few of the latest techniques, and I couldn't get back to Perth until New Year's Eve. And my wife had to wait another 2 or 3 weeks before she could get a flight back to Perth, but I got back, and I was discharged 2 or 3 days after that.
Yes. And you mentioned your marriage. That was a fairly whirlwind activity. You mentioned your marriage in Adelaide, and that was rather a well-organised activity.
Oh yes. I'd had a girlfriend in Adelaide, and I wouldn't get engaged when I was going to the war. And then, of course, for 3.5 years we had no communication whatsoever. And then when the war finished, they supplied us with writing material. So we all wrote lots of letters. And then it came to the stage eventually that I was able to predict fairly accurately the day I'd get back to Adelaide. And which I did. And the army procedure was that your immediate family were brought to a section in the some parade place, and you met them there, which of course wonderful. And then in the afternoon I went to see my girlfriend, and she greeted me. I hadn't seen her for 4 years, and she greeted me with the news. She said, "Well, I've got news for you." Whatever. She said, "You're getting married the day after tomorrow."
Lovely.
She'd arranged everything.
Very organised.
Yes.
Very organised. That's a very nice story. Well, Claude, I think we've covered most things. We have covered most things, don't you think?
Yes,
with
I
the
think
war. And can I say thank you so much
I'm
for...
not much good at this.
I know you say that, but I think it's going to be a nice story on the video. And may I say thank you so much.
Oh, that's very good, Peter.